What's up, gym owners? Hope everybody's having a great week. Hey, if you subscribe to my newsletter at businessofstrength.com, hey, subscribe to our email list. Make sure that you get our information that we send out every week. Subscribe to our podcast. Okay, we're on iTunes, SoundCloud, wherever podcasts are found. And you can go to our website at businessofstrength.com and subscribe to all of those things. But I sent out an email yesterday titled, I lost my eye of the tiger. And it was a reference to Rocky 3, one of my favorite movies. I love all the Rocky movies, 1 through 4. They were all amazing. But I grew up in the era with Clubber Lang. And when Rocky gets super famous, he beats Apollo Creed in Rocky 2. He becomes the champ. He gets the money. He gets the house. He doesn't really want to train too hard anymore. And he loses his eye. Takes the fight with Clubber Lang lightly. Goes in the ring. Gets his ass handed to him. Gets the crap beat out of him. And has to kind of like rebuild his mindset and rebuild himself up. And goes back to his roots. Finds his buddy Apollo at the gym in LA. And when he walks through the door, all you see is a bunch of scowl-eyed dudes in this basement gym covered in man sweat, right? And Apollo tells Rocky, that's what you used to have. You used to have that eye, right? When you were climbing the hill, you had the eye. You would fight and claw for anything, right? It didn't matter what it was. You were going to do it if it meant getting better. How does this translate to business? Well, I'll tell you, from my own experiences, when I started the gym, I worked 7 days a week for 3 years straight. I took 10 days off in a 3-year period, right? 10 total days off, including holidays, in a 3-year period. When I went to every single high school football game for most of the local teams. I was probably at a game every single Friday, sometimes multiple games on a Friday and Saturday for those 3 years and then some going forward. When we opened up the second gym, I worked Sundays. The only difference there was I rotated every Sunday with Dan. We did that for the years, right? Several years of working every 7 days a week or every other Sunday. Dan and I would go. Now I had a partner, so we would divide and conquer, and we'd go to even more games. We would meet up at one game and then split up and go to 2 more games and stuff like that. And we spent a lot of time in the town. Every single 5K, every 10K, every town day. Every time a school would send me a letter, somebody would, hey, do you want to speak at like a seminar? Yeah, absolutely. I'll do it all, right? Fast forward a bunch of years, the gym's successful. We're a lot busier. And we definitely cut down on those things, and not because they don't work. It's because we just don't have the time, and we put our time and effort into other things. The gym is busier. I'm creating more. I'm writing these emails. I'm doing these vlogs. I'm doing a lot of other things that we didn't do back then that I perceive to be as, higher fruit on the tree in a sense, right? That there's a better and higher return. However, going out in the community is what got us busy. Being on the gym floor is what got us busy in the first place. So the problem that a lot of gym owners have, especially I think this is a problem in the industry, is there's all this like, hey, 4-hour work week type bullshit. We had Pat Rigsby on our podcast a couple weeks ago, and his book, The Ideal Business Book, creating your ideal business. People mistake what he's saying about creating an ideal business without working, right? And that's not what he's saying. He's saying that you have to set up these guardrails, you have to set up some parameters, but you got to put the work in. Too many people in the industry want to, I don't want to work this hours. I don't want to work these days. I want to, work-life balance. Well, let me tell you something, man. When you're building a business, there is no work-life balance. I don't know any new business that has a great work-life balance for the first couple of years. And that's just the truth of it. It took me 5 years before I stopped working on Sundays. It took me another 4 years before I stopped working on Saturdays or started rotating Saturdays. I only stopped working on Saturdays last year, right? And that's after 20 years of doing this, right? I worked every Saturday for 20 years, all right? Saturday's always been a busy day for trainers because you can always get people in the morning on a Saturday, right? So the real key here is don't lose the eye of the tiger. Don't forget what got you there in the first place. Now, in some cases, what got you there won't get you to the next level, which is case in point. You have to do bigger, better things. You have to move on to stuff that's going to be, better for the business down the road. Is me spending every Friday and Saturday night at football games going to have the same return it did when we didn't have any people? No. Now I got 300 athlete clients that come to the gym. They're my best marketing machine, and we spend a lot of time marketing within. But before I had any clients, I had to get out and get people to know who I was, right? But like now it comes down to a lot of other business practices that are smarter. And I send my other coaches out to games all the time, right? So that we kind of incentivize some of our other coaches to get out and go see our kids play, as I just do not have the time anymore to do that as frequently. I still go to games, I still go to events, but not as much as we used to. Okay. Another thing that got us there is being upfront and honest, right? And leadership skills. And I've always been somebody who's brutally blunt honest, and I'll tell you what's up. And as you get busier and the company grows, what I noticed in myself even was that you try to treat things more like a business, and inevitably things become a little bit more corporate, right? You want to have paid time off, you're going to do, you got benefits, you have other different things. When it was just me and Dan, and I didn't like something, I could just storm into his room and be like, yo, dude, like, this is how it's going to be, right? And that's it, right? And we would have it out, and we'd come to some agreement, and as our old landlord used to say, we'd both walk away reasonably unhappy, right? But now it's like, well, we have to write a letter, we have to call it a meeting, and things like that. Look, sometimes, remember the gym industry, I don't care if you got a master's degree or not, the gym industry is full of meatheads. Okay, and by meathead, I don't mean stupid. I mean thick-headed, stubborn, right? Meatheads that want to do things a certain way and are holding on to old ideologies and a fixed mindset. There's more fixed mindset in strength and conditioning than pretty much anywhere I've ever seen anywhere in the world, right? Very old guard, very obtuse to change, very ignorant in some respects. Okay. Sometimes it's better to just have a man-to-man conversation with people and say what's what. So again, don't lose the eye of the tiger. Don't be afraid to say the hard conversations. Don't be afraid to lead people. Don't be afraid to tell people when they're doing something wrong. Okay? All the things that you did as a small company are still important as a large company. Okay? They just have to be transformed in a way that makes sense for your growing business. Okay? Don't lose the eye of the tiger. Make sure you stick to your roots. There will never be a replacement for getting out in the community and making real relations and meeting people. To this day, that's my number one job, okay, is building new relationships that I think will translate into new business and new opportunities for us here at Varsity House. Okay? That will never go away. No email, no social media post, nothing of that sort will ever make up for me being at a community event and getting the chance to speak directly to a group of people, okay? And now social media and things like that can be a great tool, but they should not be the base of your business. So in marketing, I see a lot of people in this where they fail and they lose that eye. It's so easy to hit the send button on a social media post compared to like going down to the strip mall in your town and introducing yourself to a bunch of business owners and standing out there and talking to people, right? That takes a lot of work, time, and effort, where I could hit the send button, 2 or 3 times a day, every day of the week, right? Start paying for paid ads, and it makes things really easy. But you lose a lot in that translation, where like if I have an opportunity to speak to a business owner, I can clearly portray what we do here at the gym, my passion and my expertise, and all those things kind of exude out really easily, and they don't get that from any type of ad or social media post on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or any of the other ones. So, right, when I talk about losing the eye of the tiger, gang, I talk about don't lose your edge, don't lose your want to get out and meet people and communicate inside your community. Don't take your thumb off the pulse of the things that got you there. Analyze them, decide whether or not they're still good for you to do them all the time, or maybe it's time to delegate that work down a little bit. But don't lose touch with where you came from, because that's going to get you to the next level, and that's what got you here in the first place. And it just requires you to be smart and make sure you're tweaking things and always looking for what's your best attributes and what should I be doing the most of, and then filter it downhill to everybody else. So take care, gang. Have a great day.